the keynote speaker, Attorney-General and Minister for Economy, Civil Services, Communication, Honorable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum, DATEC Board, senior officials of government, industry leaders and executives, distinguished speakers, vendors from across the world, delegates from Fiji, Samoa, Vanuatu, Tonga, Kiribati, Solomon Islands, and American Samoa, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, Natadola Vinaka, welcome to the Fiji Tech Summit 2022. It is with great pleasure that I have the pleasant duty of delivering the official welcome remark for this inaugural event at the Intercontinental Fiji Resort and Spa. Ladies and gentlemen, I will like to begin by firstly acknowledging our keynote speaker, the Honorable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum, for accepting our invitation to officiate over our ceremonies today. Considering your busy schedule, sir, we sincerely appreciate you being here, and your presence only reaffirms the government's commitment to building and strengthening technology and innovation in Fiji. To bring this event to light, we wanted to be at the forefront of creating such spaces and opportunities to nurture innovative ideas and thinking, stakeholder and customer engagement, building customer confidence in service providers, and mostly build bridges for improved networking amongst those in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, the DATEC team has been working on preparing for this event for over 2 years, and to see the fruit of that labor today is not only one of relief, but also of admiration for the commitment by the entire team for realization of our vision. We acknowledge that technology continues to be the primary catalyst for change in the world, and therefore we wanted to bring the technology players who are making innovation happen closer to our clients. The pandemic allowed us to challenge ourselves and to expand our creativity, and in turn required us to be more innovative in how we work. We needed to work smarter and faster, becoming more accessible to each other despite being miles apart. And I believe that for many we achieved just that. The challenges of COVID did not deter us from staying connected. Fiji and South Pacific is witnessing increase in adoption of software-defined IT infrastructure, application ecosystem, hybrid work, and cybersecurity adoption acceleration. The world is moving into an era of ubiquitous computing and ambient intelligence, and will experience more digitalization over the next 10 years than the past 40. Our customers are in different stages of digital transformation adoption, and collectively, we need to accelerate the transformation to foster innovation and continuous growth. Ladies and gentlemen, for over these 2 days, you can get hands-on with the latest technology with 25 of the global tech leading technology companies and global change makers from across the world. We have the world's largest technology companies in a single platform to interact and network, and we urge you all to make the most of it. You no longer need to travel across the world to attend tech expos and conference, because we are providing you right here in Fiji. We hope that you will engage with each other during the conference, in the exhibition, and during our social programs. Please use every opportunity to share and to learn from each other. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude, I would like to acknowledge a number of key people and organizations that have extended their support to ensure we are able to present this event to you. Our distinguished speakers, thank you so much for gathering to share your experience, skills, and knowledge with our delegates for the next 2 days. Our vendors, thank you very much for your participation in the exhibition. I'm sure many solutions to Pacific challenges will be viewed in the summit. A big thank you to our partners and sponsors. Our gold sponsors, Dell Technologies, Lenovo, Fortinet, ArcServe, VMware, Samsung, Oracle. Silver sponsors, Dover Technology, Infoblox, Brother, SolarWinds, Proofpoint, Newgen, HP, Alibaba, Lead Squared, Cisco. Our bronze sponsors, Trend Micro, Eaton, Pacificom, Cloud Ready Solutions, Salesforce, Antelar, Western Comstor, MTech. I'm truly grateful for your overwhelming support. I also extend my appreciation to all our event venue hosts, entertainers, and especially to the DayTech Organizing Committee for all the hard work and dedication. A big Vinnakavakalivu. Ladies and gentlemen, and again, thank you for being here for this inaugural event, and we hope that you'll enjoy the first Fiji Tech 2022. Thank you.
But ladies and gentlemen, it gives me much pleasure to be here this morning. And in particular, I'd like to welcome all the overseas visitors here, and in particular, all the vendors who are here. I think your presence highlights the enormous strides that Fiji has made, in particular in the past 3 to 5 years in the ITC sector. I would like to this morning just essentially contextualize where Fiji is vis-a-vis the economy, vis-a-vis the investment we've made, and of course, most importantly, the people. Today in Fiji, 70% of the entire population is below the age of 40. 65% of the population is below the age of 65. So we're a very young population. And as you know, most young people are very IT savvy. We have today about 630,000, at least, last count, authentic Facebook accounts in Fiji, individuals, forget the fake ones. We then, of course, have 95% of the country that has got coverage in terms of mobile phone connectivity, 3G, 4G, 4G plus. We also have what we call a wireless platform that government invested quite heavily in, which gives every Fijian access to television and radio, free-to-air television and radio, even though they may be in the southern parts of the Lau group in Fiji, which is much closer to Tonga than it is to Fiji, or the northeastern part, or the northwestern part. Northwestern part as far as Rotuma, you go up to Dikumbia. You can access the wireless platform through either terrestrial means or, of course, satellite means. We have a whole program in respect of empowering people in terms of accessibility to internet connectivity. This year, we were in Vanuatu, where schools and health centers were connected to the internet. We Wi-Fi'd school compounds should there be a village next to the school, where villagers could actually come in and then use the school grounds to actually access Viber, WhatsApp, and what have you. So it's the last 5% that we are very much concerned about. Because as much as people say that digitalization is the greatest equalizer, it can also be the greatest disequalizer. If you have pockets of your population that don't have access to technology, they don't have access to advanced technology, while the rest of them are sort of flying away with it. So from a government perspective, strategically, it is important for us to connect that last 5%. And even though it may cost a lot more, we are still very much committed to that. In the same way, we believe redundancy is critically important. I assume there are representatives here from Tonga. Now, Tonga recently had a volcanic eruption. They were cut off from the rest of the world for a number of days. We, as you know, we worked with the Elon Musk company to give a temporary license for them to get connected using the satellite technology. So as a country, we've also decided that we need to also be connected to a second fiber optic cable. The Southern Cross cable runs from Australia, lands in Fiji, goes on to connect west coast of North America. So if you're familiar with Fiji, Viti Levu, which is the largest island on which you are on, the Southern Cross cable lands on the eastern side. We are going to connect the western side. So there's another company that we are looking at currently. We're carrying out a feasibility study in this financial year, getting the EIAs done and finding a suitable site to land a second cable in Fiji on the western side. This building redundancies. It also feeds into the sector that's the only sector that grew during COVID-19. As was mentioned, that during COVID-19, the BPO sector in Fiji was declared to be an essential industry. So even though we had curfews, we had people who were working in the BPO sector could actually go to work, and they were given certain exemptions. As a result of that, we saw 3,000 new jobs grow during COVID, whilst the rest of the country was losing jobs in the hospitality sector, for example. We lost over 110,000 jobs during COVID. Now, that's some of the sort of big picture stuff that we are looking at. We've also made education free in Fiji, from early childhood all the way to year 13. We also have access to scholarships and tertiary education loan schemes. As a result of that, we've seen now that there are more women in universities than ever before, more girls in high school and primary school than ever before, and in fact, they've surpassed that of the males. Access to education, access to technical training is critically important. We've increased the number of scholarships available this year. We've also, for example, provided scholarships or short-term scholarships for what we call the minimum qualification requirements. And that is the investment in Fiji. As a result of having a very young population, we're also very much concerned about sustainability of such programs. So we need to do it in such a manner that we will continue to be able to provide at the minimum level what we are currently providing to the younger ones who are going to follow. Because as you know, when you have a young population, we get more babies, biologically speaking. So we have to be able to be prepared for the future. Government also, in respect of putting in place the right systems and right incentives, we also offer very, very good tax incentives. For example, people, if they invest in the BPO sector, they get a 20-year tax-free holiday. If you put up a building to facilitate a BPO sector, a center, we actually also have the tax-free in terms of the rent that you have from that or gain from that. Numbers of incentives in terms of financial incentives to be able to grow that sector. We're working very closely with the Australian government also, where one of their consultants have recently said that they expect there to be about 100,000 jobs in Fiji in the next 10 years in the BPO sector. There's enormous potential. On the other side, of course, in last year we put in place the Cybercrime Act. We also have recently, in the last session of Parliament, we referred the Budapest Convention to our parliamentary committee for their review. And God willing, when Parliament sits again after the elections, that will get approved and we'll be able to then ratify the Budapest Convention. We're also working currently on the National Cyber Security Strategy, which we are currently working in place. We see some of the people from communications are here. And also in terms of the CERT, the Computer Emergency Response Team, putting that all together. So that aspect needs to be looked after too. The Reserve Bank of Fiji, in the next few weeks, we understand will be going online with completely the national online payment system. The reason why I'm highlighting all of this is obviously there's a requirement for people to have access to technology, access to hardware, access to, of course, software technology. So the message to you is that we are very ripe for that type of investment. There are many companies, many organizations looking for opportunities in that space and for investment purposes. As a government also, we've been working very closely with the Singaporeans in bringing a number of governmental processes online. We, for example, recently, just to give you an example, during COVID, we rolled out the largest unemployment benefit scheme. People who received funds, every single application was done on the mobile phone. Nobody had to go to any governmental office to queue up, to line up. They made the applications on the phone and they got paid on the phone. We paid $432 million, of which almost half or more than half was actually paid simply on the mobile phones. So of course for government it saves money, it gives people a lot more access to not just technology but payment system, money wallets. So mobile phone companies are critically important in terms of rolling out our programs. We've seen, for example, organizations like LTA, which in many respects, many would argue still kind of caught in the dinosaur age, but at least now you can pay your fines online through money wallets, which is very important, of course. So a number of organizations need to come more and more online. For us, what is really critically important is that we work with credible vendors. We do not want to work with vendors and partners that will simply provide a solution off the shelf and then disappear into the night. We need credible vendors. We want, if their software solutions are going to be developed, they need to be suitable for our environment. So we have, for example, in government, centralized procurement of hardware, procurement of software, working through the ITC steering committee, which approves all those procurements. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, it is very important for us as a country to leapfrog into that space. We very much recognize the fact that we do need to do that. There's a number of opportunities, for example, in e-education, in e-health, and some of that needs a lot more sort of work needs to be done in terms of the processes. We have a challenge, of course, in many of the governmental organizations or ministries or departments where people think that simply getting access to technology is the solution. Well, it's not. So we've got a team of people working with certain government ministries, for example, to look at the existing processes. We need to fix up the processes first before we actually adopt the technology. So if some of you have that, the depth, that availability of assistance, we want to actually work with you. And we need to ensure that we currently, for example, adopt the best technology. Vijendra is here from communications. He looks after all our software development. So just by way of background, 91% of all the land in Fiji is Itauke land or indigenous owned. They're owned by landowning units. Now, we have, when a landowning unit leases out land, when the lease money that they get, there's now equal distribution of that land lease money. So we need to be able to know exactly who's in that particular landowning unit. We need to know the historical basis of them being in that landowning unit register, which is called VKB. And then, of course, the disbursement of those funds. They've now developed a software. So it makes it a lot easier. It makes people have access to technology, but not just technology, but also to be able to access funds in a very quick fashion. We today have people who, for example, who are younger than 18 years old, who in fact have access to funds now in their trust accounts, some of them worth close to $1 million. And it's only because of our ability to use technology to be able to ensure it goes to the right people. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'd like to thank DATEC. The chair is here, of course, of DATEC, and the CEO. I'd like to thank them for organizing this. We as a country are very much on the cusp of making the next leap, and we want to be able to partner with you. We want you to see us as a preferred destination of investment, as preferred partners. We are seeing enormous opportunities in the BPO sector, in the ITC space. Fiji is already, garnering a lot of support in respect of being the hub of the Pacific, both in telecommunications and also financial services. We also see some synergies that can be developed, of course, with our neighboring countries. Samoa recently connected to the Southern Cross Cable, and because they're up to the northeast, when they brought the cable down to connect to Suva, where the Southern Cross Cable actually lands, it passed between two of our islands, Vanuatu and Taveuni. So we used that opportunity to build a pipe out of it to land the cable in Savu. So Vanuatu, which was kind of caught in a different time age, is suddenly now connected with good speeds, good broadband. And so now TFL is going to lay a fiber optic cable from Lambasa to Savu and then connect, Savu also and connect Senganga. So these are a number of opportunities that's happening. It also helps us to be able to ensure that we keep our population in the right spaces. People don't want to move to the cities essentially just to access technology. So it started with a very basic concept. You'll see now in Fiji rural areas have streetlights. The reason why we have rural areas with streetlights is because we want people to feel that they have the same level of access to utilities that people in the urban centers have. So it's the same thing with technology. You can have streetlights in rural areas, you must have better connectivity and good connectivity in the rural areas. And in that way, we create equality in your society, and you have the strength and the power to be able to create that equality for all of us, not just outside Fiji, but also within Fiji itself. So I welcome all our visitors, and thank you once again for your participation. Vinaka, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you. Yeah, we can't voice leveling. So regardless of where you're sitting in the meeting room, everyone's sounding the same. Everyone having an equal voice.
Zoom into the booster.